Hello everyone. So today we will learn about elasticity and especially price elasticity of demand. So before we discuss this, let me ask you a question. If the price of gasoline increases by 10%, how do you respond to your consumption of gasoline? Does your answer change if we are talking about a 10% rise in the price of a Big Mac meal? Yes, just think about it. So if the gasoline price increased by 10%, you will cut your consumption of gasoline at some way, but you will not cut your gasoline consumption completely. But if the price of Big Mac meal increased by 10%, you will switch to different substitute. For example, Whopper, Burger King Whopper. So basically, you will not buy or cut your consumption of Big Mac meal completely. So the difference between these two answers is the elasticity. So what is elasticity? So first of all, simplest way to define elasticity is a measure of the responsiveness of buyers and sellers to changes in price or income. So basically, we want to use or we use elasticity to see how the quantity demanded of a good or quantity supplied of a good changes in the changes in price or income. So basically, we want to see how quantity demanded or quantity supply responds to change in prices or consumers' income. Why elasticity is useful? When price or income changes, we can calculate or determine how much buyers and sellers will change their behavior. That's why elasticity is useful, and it is very important concept after the building block or demand and supply concept. So please pay attention. So what is price elasticity of demand? So basically, price elasticity of demand, a measure of the responsiveness of quantity demanded to the change of its own price. So this gives us sensitivity of the relationship between these two variables. So if the demand is elastic, the quantity demanded will change significantly as a result of a price change. So elastic means sensitive or responsive. For example, when the price of Big Mac increase, your quantity demanded for the Big Mac changes a lot as a result of 10% increase in the price of Big Mac. So that means we can say the demand for Big Mac is elastic. So the demand is inelastic when quantity demanded changes a small amount as the result of a price change. So inelastic means insensitive or unresponsive. For example, when the price of gasoline increased by 10% or more or by 5%, quantity demanded changes a very small amount, less than the 10%. Like maybe 1% or 2% as a result of the price change. So we can say that the demand for gasoline is inelastic. So next, let's look about how we can calculate the price elasticity of demand. So basically, if we use the definition of price elasticity of demand, we can write the formula for price elasticity of demand as percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Or we can use this notation. So E subscript D stands for elasticity, and this triangle here is the symbol for change. So we can say elasticity of demand equal to percentage change of quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. For example, let's do an example here. So suppose university parking pass prices increase by 50%. As a result, 25% fewer people purchase a parking pass. So we can just easily use this information, what is given in the question, to calculate the elasticity of parking pass. So the elasticity of demand would be equal to percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So the percentage change in quantity demanded is 25%, right? So it is decreased, right? So 25% fewer people. So that's why we had a negative sign here. And then the price increased by 50% for the parking pass. So that's why we have plus 50% in the denominator. So if I just do the math using my calculator, I'm gonna get negative 0.5. So this is the price elasticity of demand for university parking pass. Now, what does this number means? Negative 0.5. You need to know how to interpret this number. So what is this number is telling you is that if the price of parking rises by 1%, the quantity demanded will decrease by only 0.5%. So that means we can say that the demand for parking passes is not very price elastic, or we can say it is price inelastic. Now, you see this is a negative number we get. The reason we get negative number for price elasticity of demand is that we know what law of demand says. The law of demand says that there is a relationship or inverse relationship or negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. That means if price increase, quantity demanded decrease, or if price decrease, quantity demanded increases. So that's why you will always get price elasticity of demand as a negative number. So please remember that if you calculate price elasticity of demand and if you get a positive number, that means you messed up somewhere. So check your calculation again. Now, there is one issue sometimes we face when we calculate price elasticity of demand. For example, when we want to use percentage change formula, for example, price decreases from $100 to $80. This is a 20% change. But when price, for example, increases from $80 to $100, it is actually a 25% change. So depends upon what percentage change formula we are using, we would get different answers in calculating elasticity. So to avoid this problem, for calculating elasticity, we use a midpoint method that corrects this problem. So the midpoint method calculation for elasticity, the formula is percentage change in quantity demanded divided by average of quantity demanded divided by change in price divided by average of price. So basically, you need to find the difference between the two quantity after price change, right? And then divided this entity by the average of the quantity, and in the denominator you're gonna find change in price, which is the difference between the old and new price divided by the average of the price. So let's do an example, practice a numerical example. For example, we have old price P1 at P is $6 for a good or a service, and then the quantity demanded for at price $6 is 15 units. Now if the new price drops or the price of the good drops to $4, so the new price is P2 equal to 4 and quantity demanded is 25 at price $4, we can just use the midpoint formula to calculate the elasticity. So I'm just replacing Q2, Q1, P2, P1 with these numbers. And my calculated value of elasticity, I get negative 1.25. Voila, you see you got a negative elasticity. That means it is proving the law of demand. Now what is this number negative 1.25 is saying to you? What does it interpret? Or what does it mean? So it means that if the price increase by 1%, quantity demanded will decrease by 1.25%. So that means the price elasticity for this good is elastic. So that's all for today. Hope you understand price elasticity of demand and how to calculate price elasticity of demand and interpret the results. See you next time.